customer asked for a dirty chai with oat. I gave them a dirty chai latte with oat milk. They looked confused and said, "No, with oat." I explained that it was oat milk. They said, "No, with oat, like sprinkled on top." Turns out they literally meant they wanted raw oats sprinkled on their drink, like a garnish, like a chai oatmeal parfait or something. I told them that's not a thing. They said it's totally normal in Vancouver. Whole cafe paused. We now refer to weird orders as going full Vancouver.
Last summer, I decided to make a family calendar so we'd stop missing things. I used a color-coded Google Calendar, red for school stuff, blue for work, green for appointments, yellow for fun stuff. I invited my wife and 2 kids to view/edit it. Everything was working great, until the incident. One morning, I get a call from my wife while I'm at work. She's whispering, clearly flustered. "Why is there something on the calendar that just says, dispose of body at 6:45 p.m. tonight?" I freeze, open my calendar. Sure enough, yellow block, 6:45 p.m. Dispose of body. I tell her I have no idea. We're both freaked out, especially because it's in her Google Calendar too. It looked like I put it there. I start spiraling. Was I hacked? Did I make a bad joke and forget? Is this some weird prank? She texts our group chat with the kids. "Okay, who put dispose of body on the family calendar?" Our 13-year-old replies, "LOL, that was me. It's about the lasagna." Lasagna? Turns out, my son had put a frozen lasagna in the sink to thaw before school. He labeled the calendar event dispose of body because he thought it was hilarious and, technically, that's what we're doing to the meat. This kid named a frozen dinner like it was a mafia job. My wife and I were half relieved, half furious, but mostly impressed. I told him if he's gonna do that, at least mark it as private. The best part? My Google Calendar connected to my work one. So now there's a meeting in my weekly summary titled, Dispose of Body, Family Event. HR hasn't said anything, but I did notice Pamela from accounting avoids eye contact now.
My roommate labeled our fridge shelves with our initials, BL and S. I'm S, so I put my stuff on the S shelf. Later he got weirdly mad I stole his sandwich. Turns out, the labels meant what to put on each shelf. B for big stuff, L for leftovers, and S for small stuff. Man invented his own shelving language. We now use emojis.
During a 10th grade history class, I put a slide up titled, Assassinations That Changed the World. First bullet point, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Before I could say a word, one of my students raises her hand and says, "Wait, wasn't he a singer?" I stare at her. Another kid chimes in, "Yeah, take me out, right?" Now the whole class is talking about early 2000s indie rock. I try to redirect. "No, the man, not the band. He was a royal whose death started World War I." Silence. Then one kid says, "That's really poor branding. Why would a band name themselves after an assassination?" The next 10 minutes are spent not on global conflict, but on explaining that yes, the band intentionally chose that name. Yes, they were being ironic. And no, Franz Ferdinand was not alive during the Bush administration. I updated the slide later that day to say, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the man, not the band. Killed 1914. Sparked World War I. I've been teaching for over 20 years. That one, that's going on the Wall of Fame. Right next to the kid who thought Napoleon was a type of ice cream.
My grandson said he'd left a package on my porch. I assumed it was something he ordered. Maybe a book or one of those gadgets. I let it sit out there for hours. Finally opened the door. It was a live turtle in a shoebox. His exact text, his name is Sherbert. Don't let him wander. I spent the next hour combing my flower bed for a turtle I didn't know I had. Found him near the lavender. He's shockingly fast.
I drive a silver Ford F-150. So do about 1,000 other guys in my town. One Tuesday after work, I stop at the grocery store. Go in, get some salsa, come out, toss the bag in the passenger seat, sit down, and immediately freeze. There's a half-eaten sandwich in the cup holder, and a pair of fuzzy dice on the mirror. Not my truck. I jump out like I just sat on a beehive. Look around. My actual truck is one row over. Exact same year, same trim, same dangling keychain on the mirror. Mine's a mini wrench. This guy had a wrench and fuzzy dice. But here's where it gets weird. I didn't just get in. I unlocked it with my remote. I walk back and test it. Lock. Unlock. Sure enough, it works on both trucks. I'm standing there, baffled, when a guy comes out with a six-pack. He sees me near his truck and speeds up. I try to explain. He doesn't believe me. I hand him my remote and say, "Go ahead." He presses the button. Both trucks flash. We stand there in mutual confusion. Turns out, he had just changed his remote battery. And somehow it synced to the same frequency as mine. Dealer said it's a 1 in a million thing, but not impossible. We ended up swapping remotes at the dealership the next day. Now we wave every time we pass each other. Fuzzy Dice Guy and Salsa Man. Bound by chaos.
My wife texted call 911 stove while I was out golfing. I panicked, called 911, raced home like it was Armageddon, fire trucks, neighbors outside. Pure chaos. Turns out, she meant to say call 911. Stove won't light. As in, me, call quickly, not emergency services. Autocorrect and lack of punctuation nearly burned down our social lives, if not the house. We now punctuate every message like it's a legal brief.
Our team uses Outlook with shared calendars and color-coded tasks. We also have this habit of assigning funny names to meetings to keep morale up. Last month, I renamed our Friday sync to Judgment Day as a joke, since we were finalizing a big client pitch. Unbeknownst to me, our calendars were shared with the client. The following Monday, we get a very curt email from their side. We're unclear what Judgment Day is meant to represent. Is there a change in direction we haven't been made aware of? My manager flips out. Our team lead doesn't know what it means either. He rarely checks calendar titles. There's this awkward 15-minute emergency call where we're trying to figure out if someone actually scheduled something critical and named it ominously. People start speculating wildly. Layoffs? Merger? Secret audit? One guy starts drafting a resignation email. I finally realize what happened and speak up. It's the Friday sync. I just renamed it for fun. Silence. Then laughter. Then groans. We had to send a clarification email with a revised agenda and a subject line that just said, "There will be no judgment." I now name meetings Friday sync and nothing else. No jokes. No personality, just cold professionalism.
My 12-year-old was sick, so I went to pick up his homework packet from the school office. The front desk lady handed me an envelope labeled "For parent/guardian only. Do not open here." Immediately suspicious. I get to my car, open it up expecting medical paperwork or a disciplinary form. It's a single page, all caps, in bold font. Your child is a dual citizen. That's it. No explanation. I nearly had a breakdown. I'm American. My husband's American. What dual citizenship? Is he secretly Canadian? Did someone adopt him without me knowing? I walk back in, white as a sheet, and ask the lady what this means. She blinks. Then says, "Oh. That was a form error. That was supposed to say, dual enrollment. He's in both regular and honors science now." Apparently, a new admin assistant had copied a template and left the wrong header. Took 3 days for me to unclench. I now read all school memos with a highlighter and a prayer.
We had an all-hands meeting scheduled for 2 p.m., like always. But someone accidentally wrote, "all hands optional," in the calendar invite. Nobody came. Not a single soul. The CEO walked into a completely empty conference room. Thought it was some kind of coordinated protest. Took 3 days and 5 awkward conversations to trace it back to Becky in HR, trying to be less demanding in tone. I now double-check every meeting title like it's a nuclear launch code.
In the first week of my teaching assistantship, I introduced myself to my undergrads as Penny. Simple. Informal. My legal name is Penelope, but everyone calls me Penny. I also put Penny, she, her, on the syllabus. 2 weeks in, I start noticing a strange vibe in class. Students seem hesitant, weirdly formal. Someone calls me Professor Her. Then one student raises their hand and says, "I'm sorry, are we supposed to refer to you using the title she, her, or just your name?" I blink. My name is Penny. She, her is just my pronoun. Dead silence. A second student chimes in. Wait, that's what that meant? I thought it was like a doctorate thing. Turns out half the class thought she, her was a title like doctor or prof. They thought she, her was some new academic rank they didn't understand. One kid even Googled how to address a professor with the title she, her. Another said they thought it was French. I clarified it on the whiteboard right under the lecture notes. Pronouns, not a title. Just tells you how to refer to someone. Like he, she, they. A few nodded. One sighed and said, okay, that actually clears up like for different people I was confused about. The following week, I updated the syllabus to include a short note. Note, pronouns e.g. she, her, they, them, are not titles or academic ranks. They're included for clarity and respect. Later, a fellow TA told me her students thought they, them was a plural teaching team. Honestly, I blame academia. We have so many actual confusing titles. Associate adjunct fellow instructor? Come on. But now every time someone calls me Professor Her, I die a little inside. At least it beats Dr. Miss Penny, which one student wrote on their paper like I was a Bond villain.
I wrote, "You have no class this Friday," on my whiteboard in big bold letters. All my students interpreted it as an insult, as in, y'all have no class. I meant it literally. No lesson that day. The words, "this Friday," was written low and must have been partially covered up. Spent the next week assuring 3 parents and the principal that I wasn't calling their kids morally bankrupt. Added a smiley face next time. Apparently that fixes everything.